Thanks everyone for coming. Yeah, Thomas is our second visitor of the series from Virginia Tech, and so we're very excited to continue that relationship. And Thomas is here as a visiting Fulbright scholar, which again we are delighted to have be part of that program. And yeah, so Thomas is here for a couple of weeks and doing various things, including we're doing a 3-day inclusive design workshop from tomorrow for the rest of the week, and as part of this, give him masterclass, and he's also brought this.
Yeah, so I'll talk about that.
Yeah. So I'll let him explain what he's going to talk about. But yeah, welcome.
All right, thank you. Thank you all for coming. I'm just going to go behind the desk so I can hit the buttons on my computer. So cool. So I from Virginia Tech. This is a kind of a and right on cue, another animatronic. So Virginia Tech is a STEM-related school similar to here, and we have over 37,000 students. So it's a pretty big school, but as I was mentioning to you, it's out in the middle of nowhere. So we're kind of a college community, but we do some really amazing engineering stuff. So we also have an MFA in Creative Technologies. We also have a BFA in Creative Technologies. I'm a faculty member. I've also been the chair and the director of both the undergrad and grad. Also a CHCI member, and I'll talk a little bit about what that means, but being able to work with other teams and so forth, and also a member of ICAT, which I'll talk about. So as part of this presentation, I want to talk to you about kind of the transdisciplinary research I do in collaborations with other programs around the world and also around campus. So just not an artist sitting in my studio working, but I also do collaborations and NSF-funded grants and so forth. So one of the first things that I worked on in 2012, 2013, is working with Shandong University. And so I was brought out to do some scanning, LiDAR scanning with some specialized equipment that was part of my startup package, but quickly evolved to like they needed someone to solve some difficult challenges like how do you get a bat wing? How do you get CT data to be a 3D object? How do you get it to move? And also how do you take data sets and create correct animation moves for the arm? So so that was my task. So I'm pretty good at solving tricky or technical problems like that in between the engineers and also the visual side of things. This is us going out onto different sections to find a certain species of bats. And here we're going into a cave. Here I'm scanning it every 15, 20 feet, and then moving it, scanning it, and then tying it all together. So this was important to kind of establish the route that these bats go throughout their flights and so forth. And so we wanted to capture that. So how do you do motion capture of a bat? So it's kind of tricky because you're not going to put on a spandex suit and put marker points on them. They're actually need to do it while they're doing it live. So we developed a system of using GoPros. We removed the lens and put a different lens that had an infrared filter. And you can see on the floor, we just illuminated the whole space with infrared light. And so with those 6 GoPros, we could put it in MATLAB and then triangulate the path of each of these bats. Interesting thing about these bats is that they can jam each other. So if you and I were a bat and we were going after an insect, I could jam you and throw you against the wall, and I got the lovely, yummy insect. So this is, they also built a wind tunnel or a tunnel, same kind of idea using GoPros to track movement. And so this was me creating schematics and also marker points for the bats, and then literally bats flying through a tunnel to see the bioengineering side of how these bats move through space. So did a motion tracking of the face and using a sophisticated sonar or devices to track how they pulse out and use their face to use their sonar and their shaping of their face to kind of project out different things. So again, schematics for that, and then using my background, modeling these forms, and then showing how they divert their faces to do that. A couple years later, the Virginia Tech vet school wanted to do a VR simulation for the first year students. So this is like within the first 3 or 4 weeks, the students are presented a dog and they start to do palpitations, figure out where all these organs are. And so I was tasked with giving raw CT data, which is just like slices of bread, just black and white images, and extracting that out to organs and hard tissue like bones and so forth, and then extracting it out so it's light enough to play in a game engine. And also we did a couple dissections of dogs so we get images so we could wrap around like the heart and the spleen and all that. So this is about a 6-month project. It was very successful. It is open source now, so anyone can download it. So many vet schools from around the world use it for their first couple or first semester studies. So this was our first time utilizing it in the classroom. You can see that is their lab. And then we progress to other animals. So once you get one done, then you can prove what you're doing, and then you can start using this technology for other animals. So we got CT data from a bovine, which is a cow, and it's a laborious process. So a lot of my students, we call this hands-on learning. They're given this data, given a pipeline, and then they get money to work on these projects. So they're not doing it for free. They're getting maybe 15, 20 bucks an hour, and they get to have something on their CV or resume. So a lot of these students go on to gaming companies or VR, AR companies. So it's really great to see this transition and how they can take this data, and you can see the UV sets over here. So each of those bones probably take, several hours to dissect, retope, and then a UV map. So I think they have also progressed to 2 other animals. And then I built, because I don't want to be perfect anymore. It's a lot of work. So, but we have something called Aries Lab that helps take these projects and has someone that can manage them and then take the grants and fold that into kind of a lab situation so that people like me don't have to keep troubleshooting and working on these projects. But this was about 10 years ago. We're still working on this project. So this is Vauquois. This is actual World War I battle site. And you can see from an aerial view, this is kind of a unique war site where the French and German side were trying to dominate the top of this village. And so they slowly started digging and going underground, and they would listen and try to blow up each other. They did this for 2 years. And so we were tasked to kind of fly out. I think it was on a small NSF grant, and they tied me in at the very end. It's like, oh, we know someone that does LiDAR scanning. So we scanned for days and days and days, and these are very sketchy tunnels. So obviously they're very old, but they're engineered on the fly during war. And so these are the barracks. These are on the German side. So you can see this is where people lived. So they had air systems to pump in air, very similar to our ventilation system here. So they had to pipe in air, sewage system, lighting was very primitive. And so what we wanted to do is not just scan it, but we also wanted to scan all the tunnels in the area so we could see the French and the German side and what these networks look like. And so it took several years to kind of get them all kind of related to each other. But you can see it's just like a worm, not worms, but ants, tunnels all kind of coming together. You can see where that is. We even did ground penetrating radar to see where other collapsed tunnels were. So what do you do with all that data? Obviously, it's this point cloud data. You can put on a VR headset. You can kind of use a trigger, but you can't tell a story. So you don't know what it felt like to live there, the tensions, you're 24/7. You don't know if you're going to get bombed or if this is going to end or not. But my students, and a lot of these students that you see here are now professors working, teaching in this field also. And so we took some of this data, we took a section of this tunnel and we created an XR experience. So like when you go and reach out to see that wall, you're actually touching it. And also that lamp is got a tracker and it's illuminating the path you're going. So as you're going through it, you get to see what it felt like during that. And there's a couple sections where it rumbles and you can feel particles. So you really get this immersive feeling of what it felt like to be at that site at that time during the war. So this travel to the Smithsonian has traveled around the United States to tell that story. So again, we're still working on it. We have now projection mapping version of that and other traveling exhibitions for that. So I want to also talk about a little bit of my background of my research. So a lot of my stuff, and you're probably wondering what this is, but I also liked, I'm a fine artist. And so graduated from Chicago Art Institute. And so my practice has always been three-dimensional forms, doing like projection mapping and so forth. So I'm interested in interactive art. And so this was something, New Orleans, so this was all put into my packing bag and then shipped down. And so I was able to make this on the fly in New Orleans, right there off of Bourbon Street. So this idea of how do you create kind of an immersive, interactive experience? And so you can see that I'm doing renderings of different passes, different fields of what it was going to feel like when you wrapped it around the surface. So here we're doing projection mapping. We're accurately projecting right onto the surface. So you saw the renderings and we were placing that on there. So didn't want this to be a linear or passive experience, but I wanted it to be interactive. So I collaborate with a partner, Tom Jetson. We've been collaborating for almost 18 years now. I call him my brother, but we're using Max MSP jitter. And so this is kind of a procedural way of making sound in real time. So it's not linear like you play a song. It procedurally will create sound and so forth. And then as it's being procedurally generated, it's also procedurally creating these projections. So it's not always the same, and the way you interacted with it, you can go up to it and can trigger off events and so forth. So this was exciting. This was exhibited in the bathroom at the Joan Mitchell Center because it was the only place that was dark. But it was pretty cool to be able to pull that off and then create this kind of new experience. So what I'm going to start showing you is part of where I think how we kind of got in touch is ICAT. This ICAT is a place to kind of foster transdisciplinary research. It is one of 11 institutions that has this thing called the Cube. There's over 160 speakers in there. It's a 4-story by 4-story volume. And you can do a lot of cool research in there. It has motion tracking things in there too, OptiTrack, and also this really great place to do research. So we were commissioned to work on this project with Eric Ryan and myself, and this is called a cyclorama. And so this is about maybe a 15 to 20 foot cyclorama tall. So when you go in, you're fully immersed. And the idea is that not just like VR where it's a one-on-one experience, but 15 to 20 people can go into the experience. So you saw the goggles there. They are very specialized goggles. They flicker at 60 frames per second, right, left, right, left, right, left. And so you can see this kind of doubled up image. So those are stereoscopic. So really, really strong stereo, like, the Muppets with the 3D or the red and blue lenses. This is a very exotic glasses that you can see the space. So these things are moving up and down, and also in conjunction, we have spatialized sound. So as these are coming out, there's a spatialized field of sound that is designed with this, with Eric Lyon composing the music. There was more. Let's see. No. Let's go back. Let's go back in time. So more than welcome to ask questions too. So what was it? Was it? All right, sorry. This may be a little bit loud. This is a part of the Accelerate Festival in conjunction with the Smithsonian in DC. And designed this in less than 60 days. Everything you see here, from the technology, hardware to software to the physical. Turn this down, sorry. So what you see there are these wands that you see. These are wands that we developed from scratch from Matthew Swartz from Georgia Tech. He designed the hardware, and then we sent it off to China. So we had about 300 of these wands. So this is an instrument up to 100 to 200 people can play this at the same time. So during the day, you can see people were hitting the buttons. So you had over 350 different ways of making sound. And then in response, it's making three-dimensional sound. So the magic really comes to life at night. And so we have these projectors, and in real time, when you're hitting these buttons on these wands, it knows directionally where you're pointing it. And then these abstract formations pop up when you hit it. So every time you hit it, these flashes, and also this spatialized sound. So this was a part of a festival. I think over 50,000 people either indirectly or directly passed by this or participated with it. So this is the first time for me that, like, as an artist that sits in their studio and maybe like 4 people see my drawings, which is yay. This is the first time that I've actually having people have fun and enjoying the experience. So this is a part of a huge team. Also, it got me out of my shell. I'm usually typically shy, never ever talk to people. And now I'm having to be a direct lead, and then the person involved to scheduling this out, and also a time crunch of getting this all done in 60 days. Also trying to solve, like, how do we do this? There is no like tutorial on how to do this. You have to solve this on your own and really rely on this team that you have here. How do you do logistics? How do you move this crap all the way there? We also had to prove that this can withstand 120-mile-per-hour winds for some safety reason. So you have to kind of work with people at the wind tunnel, engineers that actually looked at the map that we did and said, yeah, that looks good. So anyways, it's very exciting to work on these large scale teams. A lot of therapy afterwards. We were invited again. And so before all this, so there was also projection mapping on the outside that it didn't show, but it's progressing. This partnership with the Smithsonian, and there's a couple projects I'm not going to show, but as you start developing with larger institutions, you get to have these great relations. So the next year, they did not want it outside. They wanted to do it on the inside. So again, we developed this in about 60 days. And so this time we were like, what can we do with the stuff that we have sitting around? Because we only have like maybe $15,000 budget, which is not a lot of money to do this. So we said, well, we have the scaffolding. And I said, well, why don't we do these inflatables? And with these LED lights in it. So what you can see, and the other caveat, we only had 3 hours to put all this together. All right, so this is about a team of 10 people slamming this together in about 2.5 hours. And then at the end of the 3 hours, we had to be live. So we had to make sure everything worked. We had him, this is Tian Yu, he's actually coding it up to the day that we, or the hour that we launched it. So he is now working on his PhD. So this, again, hands-on learning with the students, how to solve this stuff, building it before you know if it's even going to work. So these are tubes that have LED lights that have accelerometers that move. And in real time, those lights can move. And also at the base, there's sound. And so when you hit one of these buoys or forms, it'll react in real time with color and sound. So you can imagine 9 of these all kind of working together. So we had to develop an HVAC system. There's blowers up there to create this constant volume of air to inflate these things. We didn't know about the safety, if it was going to last the 3 days, because teenager boys are hell. They love to punch things. So we had to sew all those by scratch. I made the templates and sewed about half of these so we could get them to work on time. So here it is, about 2 minutes before the launch, and we got them to work. So this is all using Max, MSG in the background, and the highlights of what it looks like. Great. Again, people would walk up to like, what the hell? They were attracted to the lights, and walk out of there, as you'll see, with joy. So again, not my sense of fine art, but it was kind of a fun thing to. So we were there as docents, 5 of us there constantly, just to make sure teenager boy. Next to it would be a toddler, an elderly person. So we really had to kind of watch to see what the kids were doing. That was constant, because the buses would be dumped off, and you would have these hordes of like 50 to maybe 100 people being dumped off at the same time. All types of going through there, and luckily everything lasted. I think the last 2 days we had to use gaff tape to kind of together, because everything was shattered. All made out wood, so just using heck out of it. So you can see as you push it, lights change form, and you can see at the very bottom, visualize speaker. So you can see a kind of cacophony of sound as you go. Again, that was done in about 60 or 70 days, and then we only had 3 hours to. So as I'm doing this, I'm learning what makes good team members, and also people that I can rely on too on large scale projects like this on cheap. Oh, I was burnt out. I've been doing transdisciplinary research for teams, and it's just nonstop in academia, right? It's just nonstop. You're writing grants, you got timetables, you're exhausted. And so I finally got to go on a research leave. So as part of R1, you get a semester. I got a buyout for a whole entire year. I wanted to get as far as away from my school. So guess where that would be? This place I can imagine. New Zealand. So I had been there the year before to Wellington, and I really wanted to go there because I wanted to be part of WetEd Digital and WetEd Workshop. So these are the folks that created on a very thin line of money, The Lord of the Rings, and now they're predominant in VR and also filmmaking. So I wanted to be part of that, and I had been there before, so I got to stay with my colleague Mark Orell. He was the dean of the college at University of Wellington. So I wanted to take everything I had learned, and then now I wanted to create a full VR XR experience that has all these senses. So typically VR is just usually visual. We're typically really bad visuals and then really, really bad acoustics. So I really wanted to work on that. So I wanted to go back. You're going to see some bad spelling in a second. I wanted to go back to my meditation, and there, great spelling. Wanted to go back to my meditation and studio-based artwork. And so these were forms that came up through meditation, and then taking a simple sketch and then fleshing it out to 3D forms, getting them ready for VR. So this is the process that goes through the modeling, the texturing, and so forth. So a lot of these forms that you see come to my mind's eye when I'm meditating, and then I sketch them out, model them. That's really easy, but texturing is really a challenge for me. So I look a lot at fashion, biology, textures of shoes, like especially Nike and so forth. So those are like kind of a starting point before I start going into the texturing. So it's really cool software called Substance Painter you probably have heard of. And it's a great way of adding textures to form really quickly and procedurally. So that is a long, laborious process to texture these things. And then you want to try to create some sort of life to these. So you can see kind of rigging that happens in Maya. And so those are all kind of baked out so that we can enjoy in a VR experience. So I'm showing you this kind of this transparency, kind of this luminosity of what these forms will look like. So I really wanted to push the boundaries of what VR. I haven't seen a lot of great artwork in VR, so I wanted this really engaging forms to work on. And so this is before the pandemic. So still in New Zealand, so I was invited to Ars Electronica, and unfortunately, the pandemic happened. So we had to create a satellite version of it, basically a video. And so this was inside the cube, and I think we all had to get tested that day. And then we could only get within 6 feet of each other, all masked. And what was the other caveat? Oh, we couldn't call it performance. We could call it a scientific study. But if we had called it performance, we couldn't do it. So this was at high risk. We were doing this performance. And you can see all those three-dimensional forms that I had modeled. We now have 3D prints. So just like what you have over here, you have the Vive headset. We're using Vive trackers. So in the VR, as you go out to see this form, you can actually go out to touch it, and it's 1-to-1 ratio. So you can actually test it. So this is a participant. We did maybe 4 or 5 people that participated. You walk into this space, DICAT Cube, and you can feel kind of what the environment looks like before you even put the headset on. We call it pre-game. And then there's about 22 puppeteers in the background that you never, ever get to see. So they come out one at a time, and they puppeteer these forms. As you reach out, you can see it virtually. And also, you can see on the bottom that there's a Bose speaker clamped in. You can see my wife right here. She's got the nunchucks from a Wii, and she's in real time doing sound. So as you go to reach out, it's like we're making all kinds of weird sounds. And then you can see me on the other side. I have a Vive tracker. It has buttons on it. So as you go to touch it, I hit a button and it'll change the color, or B, particles spew out and so forth, or transparencies. So there's these 4 different modalities I could control, but it was me as a puppeteer manipulating it. So you can see sound, also a little bit of a color and so forth. So we didn't have any time to workshop this. Hiromi was great. She was a great puppeteer. She added her own flavor of sound. Her knees would click as she walked. She has really bad knees. So anyways, have all these things being puppeteered, all these different forms in real time. So again, the person that's, the participant doesn't know there's puppeteers or these people engaging with. Maybe one of the later ones get bigger and crazier. Some of the stuff you saw is animated and they're moving. They program as you get closer, they become rigid because they are not moving, they're just hard plastic. So first round, the next year, once COVID lifted, we wanted to the taste and the scent. So in the pre-round we did, we worked with mixologists, and so they got a couple like which makes everything a lot more exciting, right? So as part of that mixologist, we were and also drawings. Now, trying to get into deep-seated memory of the experience, so hopefully, but the psychology of what you were talking about, these deep-seated memories on how to. So again, a large team trying to pull it off during a really difficult time during COVID. So we got invited to Ars Electronica again, and each year I wanted to do a different project and keep learning from this XR experience. So this is actually Megan D. Did the motion graphics for this. I think she was here a couple weeks ago. So this was really the difficult time of COVID, and we were really locked down. So this is my daughter and my wife helping out documenting this. So it was really challenging. So this was something I wanted to design that we could take to New Zealand. So everything is kind of on bolts, and we could flat pack it kind of like IKEA, and then ship it down to New Zealand for satellite Ars Electronica performance. So you can see these like tubes. They're actually speakers embedded into the tube. There's also a fan in there, and there's also scent. So as you get near it with your tracker on your arm, these particles will illuminate. You start to smell and also hear as you get close to it. I think it's the early when I have a weather balloon trying to push out. So this is what it kind of looks like as you're going through the experience. And then also we have a puppeteered form interact with. My wife was puppeteering. Let's see. She's actually pretty good at puppeteering, even though she makes fun of my work. She's really good at slowing down and interacting with people. So this is a side room of ICAT. This is also another place where you can do research, and you can see it's a small array of speakers, but there's a lot of research happens within that space at ICAT. So this is kind of just behind the scenes of how this stuff was created. I think I bought a CNC machine and did this all in my backyard because everything, the whole school was completely shut down. Those are not special herbs. Those are actually this plants that we planted for smell. So there's basil, peppermint, not peppermint, but different types of herbs that we grew. So I got a $3,000 grant, and those were all grown in our greenhouses at Virginia Tech. And then we distilled them. So it's a pretty complicated project. We're using Max as the driver of this, and then Max going into Unreal Game Engine. So a lot of the stuff you can see, the particle systems, how we design that. And then again, thinking about aesthetics, how to make this stuff really grungy. And I really wanted people to get up close and look at the fine details of that. So this is a little bit of harvest time. I'm not good at growing stuff, but luckily everything went well. And so going through the chemistry process of getting the essential oils from these different plants and getting the aroma, because that was really important for me. It takes a lot of work to get essential oil out of biomass. It's a pain of patootie, hours and hours of getting the essential oil, but it's really cool to kind of know that process. I definitely want to work with a perfumist down the road, but that was really exciting. So with that, the satellite Ars Electronica. So finally, we're out of the pandemic and we get to go to Linz, Austria. So this is an amazing venue to show for electronic artists. So this is kind of a venue for like scientists and artists that kind of come together to showcase. I think over 80,000 people go to this, and maybe even double that this year. So a lot of people go to this place, and it started off as kind of a dirty, grungy city in the late 70s, and they introduced this ideas of Ars Electronica, and it really has like affected the economy of the city. And so it's really great to see that how arts can really help the bottom line of an economy. We see this over and over around the world. So we brought all this suitcase. Also, we did a couple of no, we didn't do a shipment. So this was all suitcases, 3 or 4 or 5 different types of suitcases. So we brought it and then erected it and then performed it. So we did this 8 hours a day for 6 days. And poor Tom Judson was exhausted. He was puppeteering. I was the host. I would, the MC, just kind of help put on the VR equipment and engage with the audience and for safety. The feedback we got was amazing. The person that you saw before was a famous robotic engineer, and she was really engaged with it. So that was exciting. So every year I wanted to do something different and just keep pushing the bounds of the boundaries of what I'm doing. So it sounds like I want to do it every year, but each of these projects take about a year and a half, and now they're taking about 2 years to kind of go through the pipeline. So instead of these plastic forms that you go reach out to touch, I wanted them to be more engaged, be able to bend in real time. And I thought that was going to be a really easy thing to solve, right? You just put a couple servos on there and you're good to go, right? It became a very difficult process. And so again, had hundreds of drawings, and I decided to focus on this one form that you saw in that drawing. So I always use my drawings are always my beacon on how to start these complicated projects. And I try not to diverge too much from what I saw during meditation. To show you some of the processes that went through, and I think we did this in about 30 or 60 days, just from a prototype just to get it kind of working. I want to tell you, a lot of it was faking it a little bit, and just to get it to work so we could get it to CGRAPH. So sometimes you have to kind of prove that it's working, but if they really look close enough, it's probably not going to work. So anyways, just wanted to show you the initial prototypes. It looks like to go through the process of modeling this, building out your own prototype boards, try not to fry yourself, and then finally getting it to kind of work like in 60 days, kind of this rough shell of a form that you can see. So we wanted to get this in VR. These things are moving in real time, and we wanted it to be procedurally, not a linear experience. And so a lot of these things are just hanging out in the studio now. A lot of them broke, but just the prototyping of going through the iterative process of this. So we put in a proposal, see a little bit behind the scenes of what this looks like, all the electronics, knowing how to clean all this up. But we got accepted to CGRAPH. And so I think like 5 a.m., the day of the deadline, we're talking about using maybe like ChatGPT to improve your application. That may have been used at this time because you needed to get done really quickly. But I think basically what you just saw there was a teaser for CGRAPH, said this is our prototype. It was not working, but it was my wife wearing a headset, wasn't even working, and she was touching it. But this video that we're watching right now is actually working. So cool thing about going to CGRAPH, you get to see that you're the pioneer people in the field. And so we did present it, and it went really, really well. And got to see people that make the NVIDIA card that's powering this, or the people that made the headset and so forth. So as part of an ICAT McGill grant, we are going to we performed it just a week and a half ago in the Cube, and we're going to see that in just a second. And also in the fall of 2026, we're going to take this project up to McGill. And so it's a $6,000 grant on my side, and a $6,000 grant for McGill. And that is probably for programmers and stuff like that to kind of help out. So you can see this is starting to become a very large project even before you guys reached out to me. So really quickly, this is the form. This is the third or fourth iteration of it. It's still falling apart. But the idea is by the end of next week, this will be running live. We just still got to get batteries. We'll have it using a computer, Wi-Fi router, talking to it in real time. So this is a non-tethered animatronic robot, and soon it'll be a tracker on here, so you'll be able to see it and touch it in real time as it's moving. A lot of this is new technology where the black paint on here is conductive. So when you touch it real time, there will be haptic. There are 5 haptic motors in here. Also, when you touch it, each of these are individualized. So when you touch it, there's an LED light that goes on so you can see it. So even if you're not doing VR, you can see it in real time working. But the idea is that, again, like maybe 15 to 20 puppeteers, and then one participant wearing a VR experiencing 5 of these. So this is our pipeline that we started initially was using Max to Unreal Game Engine. And you can see that they're all networked together, talking to each other and so forth. We also have a speaker in there using a daisy seed and so forth. So this is my lab. We just did a kind of a dump of any image that was related to our project with industrial design, because we wanted to improve the aesthetics and the capability of this. So we had a really fun time kind of geeking out on that. So this is an undergrad student, Jason Hodge. He is kind of the background of how to make all this work. So we decided to start making our own boards. We found out Arduino and Raspberry Pis can only get you so far, but we needed to get all those wires to a smaller point. And so we started developing our own board, lower and bottom board, using Wi-Fi Adafruits, feather boards connected to that. And so when you create your own boards, you have to create your own libraries, you have to create your own networks and so forth. So this is all of that compiled. And so you start to see the animations happening in Unreal, and then this is being real-time transmitted to the bot. So you can see he's using C++. And so this is really exciting time that now we've got this bot working from Unreal Game Engine, untethered Wi-Fi to the object in real time. And so pretty exciting that we were able to pull that off. And I think this was less than a semester that we figured it out. So we had about 2 or 3 students working on this, and pretty exciting. We also wanted to introduce a haptic suit and the experience too. So that's part of it. As you're touching it, you also have some haptic response to it. I don't know why I left that in there. So this is part of the process too, is using Miro. Hopefully you guys know about Miro. Is fantastic. So able to dump your ideas, and then people from all around the world. So Matthew is at Georgia Tech, so he's several hours away. And we can use this to start plotting out, what do we want this board to do? And then Matthew's really good. I think he did this in like maybe 4 or 5 nights. He made our boards from scratch. So this is a software that he's using. This is not just a 1-layer board, it's 3 layers deep for both the bottom and the top board. So you can see him going through mathematically and design-wise to figure out what load that these resistors can take and so forth. He's pretty remarkable. He has been on Shark Tank a couple times, and so he's really good at this. And his background is architecture, and he's doing some amazing things. Now he's working on quantum computing. Is this really cool person. So anyways, this is what it looks like to design this stuff, using Miro to kind of go back and forth on these designs. And then voila, there's your board, right? And so once we agree upon everything, and then he sends the files off to China. And then in 72 hours, DHL given your boards for less than $250. It's amazing. So, but what do you do with all that? You've got a board that look a lot like this, and then you have to kind of build up. You have to do some soldering of these points where the DuPonts are going to stick. So you can see it on the left is what it looks like when it comes from China, and then on the left is what it looks like where you have to build up these connector points, and you still have to solder it. So my colleague Deng Su, he's really good at that. If it was up to me, I would fry the board immediately. So it's a lot of soldering, and then it's like hours and hours of making sure those connector points. There's over 900 ways you can screw that up. So that was the upper board. This is for the haptics, LED lights, also all the servos on the top. We also have right there a slot for a daisy seed, so we can start to implement some really cool AI with sound so they can talk to each other. And this is the bottom board. This is what it looks like on the left, and then on the right is after the soldering of the connector points. So I think this is the big aha moment. I captured it. This is Jason. He's a junior undergrad. He's a little cocky, a little excited that he figured it out. But he got it to transmit. I think we're at this point, we're still tethered, but we're almost untethered through Wi-Fi. So he's quite remarkable. I think he has lined up based on this project. Indirectly, we had a conference. Someone said they really liked it. And so now he has an internship at Disney Imagineering this summer. So pretty cool, just on kind of complexities of this project and what he did for it. So like I said, this was about a week and a half ago. And this is our project. And I'm going to show you a little bit behind the scenes. And so everything is from scratch. So those scrims that we made, CNC'd. And then at the Cube, they have these opti cable projectors. So the projectors in another room, and they have an fiber optic cable, and then projectors that are really high resolution. And so they also have software they can already pre-pen it based on the structure, and it's super quiet. And again, we're in a room with 180 speakers. And this time we are going to make it with singers and actually workshop the heck out of it. So for about 3 weeks, they first started with like just pushing around a chair on rollers to kind of mimic what these are going to be like. So they were just kind of working on making kind of a dance out of it. I didn't even think of that. So it was really cool to hand off a project and then say, do something with it and have other artists kind of interpret that. So as part of the experience, we had several classes come in to talk about the project and the research that we're doing, what all the team that behind it. So you saw there was about 10 people that were part of the team. And then kind of set up, this is like the night before we did dress rehearsal. And so just praying that nothing breaks. The necks were wanting to flip over and crack and so forth. So you can start to see, we finally figured it out. We got literally 24 hours before we got the Wi-Fi signals working to all three. And you can start to see as the signals set out, procedurally, the lights are going on and the arm is coming up. So it's pretty exciting that we got it to work. And so we had the next day on Thursday, we had 4 different versions of this, performances. I'm going to skip ahead so you can start to hear what it sounds like. Let's see. So this is all linear. This is not VR yet, but there will be VR in the fall of 2026. And so we had a 12-minute show. It's all linear with the sound. And then in real time, the Unreal game engine is sending out signals during the whole 15 minutes. So everything is animated with the background, and also the bots there, those are all animated to the kind of the soundtrack. So it was really cool. A lot different from previous performances where there was not that great of engagement with the participant, but this was giving a whole other level of emotional connection that I haven't had in our work before. So here we are today. Now, as part of my Fulbright, I wanted to bring one of these here and leave it here and have this as part of a network. So the idea is this bot will be not this, but it will be functional, and that when we have our performance in the fall of 2026, at McGill, we'll have 5 of them in Unreal. This one will be up and running and networked to these 5. We'll also have one in Blacksburg networked and Unreal. So the person in VR will be able to see this one, Blacksburg, and also one in Seattle, all at the same time. So you'll be able to touch it here, and the person at McGill will be able to see that and interact with it in real time. So that is our next target on getting that to work. And so again, ICAT Cube, there'll be one singular one there. and then this will be at McGill. They have a similar ICAT cube space. This is about probably 50, 60 speakers. And so that is a hall that we'll perform in. Then one at University of Washington in Bothell. And then one here in this lovely room or elsewhere, or maybe in the river, I don't know. We'll see. This is what it looked like. So you guys were asking, I think I told someone I brought it on the plane with me. It came in luggage. So luckily, didn't destroy it. So it all came into all these pieces, and over the past couple of days, I've been assembling it. So next couple more days, we'll get it electrified and start working with the Wi-Fi and getting signals sent in real time. We're almost done. So I always like to put this in here. These are the things that I have learned over my academic career and just in life. Empathy, kindness, and respect for everyone. I heard Adam Savage say this the other day, but like totally, if you triangulate all these things, you're going to be a pretty amazing person. So harness that. Follow your passion. I think we always hear that. Sometimes that's a negative thing people say, but I think it's true. I mean, really, I think you guys heard that I got burnt out with some of the academic stuff I've done, but then I always fall back to what I'm passionate about. So it may take you a little bit longer to get to what you're passionate about. Obviously, we'll have to make money, but definitely follow your passion. It'll yield great results. Take risk. Can't figure it out. You're only going to figure it out. You're smart, right? You're sitting in this room. You're able to get up and go to a place that definitely take risk. Embrace your failures. That is really, really key. I tell my students, they get frustrated when things don't work. Like you got to take it as a blessing and learn why things failed, and then be able to pivot quickly. Be adaptable and open to change. It's a given. Go big or go home. So I've heard that maybe like 8 years ago when we went to Accelerate. And so that has been in my head all this time, go big or go home. So if you're thinking of a small project, think bigger. Like, I mean, just go for it. I mean, you only got one life, right? So go big. You want to say, you know, I can't go big because of funding. I mean, just you'll figure it out. So travel while you're young. Definitely do that. It's really important for students to see other cultures and broaden your, your field of view. Be humble. And then the last one is definitely surround yourself with smarter friends. So a lot of these projects and these collaborations and transdisciplinary research projects that we have done couldn't have been done if I hadn't surrounded myself with smarter people. So thank you. That's it. Oh, all right. That's a lot.
That was amazing. Yeah, the range of work there is fantastic.
Yeah. Quite a few things there. So.
Any questions? I mean, going back to that thing about what strikes me, because obviously, kind of what we aspire to here is facilitating that kind of interdisciplinary collaborative work.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you say in terms? It seems like Virginia Tech and ICAT have done a very good job of doing that. What would you say is the kind of the trick to it, or the lessons?
It's really, really hard. I say ICAT or not ICAT. Virginia Tech is like every institution around the world. We are very siloed, right? We've got computer science, we've got engineers, we've got arts way over here. There's no way any of those disciplines are going to interact with each other, because for me, like if I want to go for full transdisciplinary research is a no-go. It's not going to help you get tenure. So right off the bat, that system is kind of broken. And I think I'm a pioneer for that. And I'm starting to review other people going up for tenure, and they recognize that I do transdisciplinary research and collaborative research. So how you get credit for it is very challenging too. It shows you're on the grant. but it doesn't show what percentage, like that I did 90% of the project or whatever. So it's really, really challenging for that. So right off the gate, like people just don't want to do it. They just go back to what's normal, what's going to get me through the next 7 years and get me tenure. And so ICAT was something I was really interested in. I heard about it years before they broke ground, and some Ben Knapp was going to lead that group. So I think it takes a great leader like Ben Knapp that has done collaborative research. I think he was here in Ireland before he went to ICAT. So there was kind of a transdisciplinary team here that really innovative research. I forget what it's called. But anyways, having someone like that, they also have a little bit of incubator money. So they have like these $25,000 or $35,000 grants, and you have to, it's competitive, but you got to show a collaborative team, not just like paper, but like proof of a project that you have done, like not just like, hey, I'm going to have David on my team. We have never spoken, but he signed off on it. But you have to like really prove that you have done collaborative research. And then as part of that, once you receive that grant, that you're going after an NSF or a larger scale external grant. So it's taken a long time. I mean, 12 to 14 years incubating it. So a lot of these projects are labor of love. I mean, you know, we don't always get the research money that we need to pay our students. So a lot of it is on the backs of the researchers who do the research themselves. So it's tricky. You've got to have a buy-in from the provost and also from the president of the university to make this happen. And I think, as you saw that Accelerate Festival, a lot of those topics where the deans came, they would talk about this transdisciplinary collaborative research, because this is what our students do when they graduate. They don't just go into their silo. They're going to be working with teams of other people and solving really difficult things. So you might as well do it now and have this hands-on learning experience during your undergrad or grad or PhD. So I think it's really important, but you know, universities pivot well, right? They don't like what to be told what to do. So it's taken a while, but I think you guys reached out to us. I don't know how, but somehow, you know, we're both fostering the same thing. And it's good to see each other, and you know, hopefully this will create some other collaboration here. I'm hoping. So
yeah, well, the answer to that question is circuitous and happenstance, and which is probably how a lot of this stuff happened.
Yeah,
I met someone who said you should meet someone who said
It's a small world, right? Like it's very small world, because the stuff that you do, there's only a handful of people that kind of do this open-minded like this. So. Any other questions from the youngins?
Yeah.
I'll take offense if that.
You want to go first? Yeah, go. Well, I really appreciate these words to say, because this is kind of the talent and finding and where I go with artists, scientists. So it's still, you know, but there's a lack of methodology. So it's amazing to see these examples. Just to say it is possible to be great. So very good. It's very inspiring. I guess my question is more about the role of arts. And I was watching all these beautiful kind of creatures you are creating, virtual, etc. So now the big question, I guess, in the aesthetic field is how these new projects are opening new imaginaries, thinking of the future. So how this intersection between machines and very interactive as it comes. For example, you are trying to make these objects as organic as possible within the limitations of the mechanical things like this. So how we are kind of perceiving a possible future through all these experiments, let's say, aesthetic experiments.
I mean, I think the artists should have a really key voice in that, even if not like fine art, but also industrial designers to architects are part of this way of discovering, you know, empathy and emotional values with this technology, because it's really, really hard to do with a robot, right? We look at robots, we don't have this connection with them. So, but as we get closer and closer to this technology, I think that's what we are wanting to create. this kind of emotional bond for this technology. So you don't have artists in it, you'll definitely have a CS vibe to it, or you maybe have an engineering vibe to it. So it's really critical that artists or artisans are part of that process. So we had like the Ars Electronica that really fosters this idea of arts and sciences together. So if you do have a chance, check out their site. I mean, look at the wonderful projects that they do, talking about environmental issues to fashion to, you know, reading emotional states on people's faces and so forth. So I think artists have always been part of this, right? This ecosystem, right? And I think this is a time for artists to kind of be a lead in that too. And I've slowly had, I mean, when I first got to Virginia Tech, I was very quiet. It's a quiet person on the project, but you know, confidence is great. As you get older and older, you realize I have a way of steering this into a better experience. So, I mean, like taking the Vauquois experience, like how do you tell a story, like a narrative, like how do you tell a story of this horrible thing that happened in war? We also do it with just like the Virginia Tech history, we do VR with Virginia Tech history. So we talk about difficult things about our history. I mean, it was stolen land from indigenous people to it was slavery happened on that campus. So we use VR to tell challenging histories. So it's just not art, but overlays of art, but also how you tell the humanities side of it. And that's also a huge missing part of technologies is humanities. And now that's a dirty word, right? We've actually taken it out of everything at Virginia Tech because of the administration that's going on right now. But humanities and arts is like you have to include all that in technology now, or it's going to be a very green place, right? If we don't engage all the arts. So I don't know if I answered your question. I just kind of rambled on.
You gave me hope as well. So.
Oh, there's hope. I mean, you've got to go to conferences is where this is like, you know, amazing. Like you got to see the other people doing it. Because if you're your own little vacuum, you won't understand how this all can interconnect. So, yeah. You had a question?
Yeah, so a lot of what I'm researching is how we sort of introduce these complicated, amazing, creative projects with technology to education and youth settings.
Yeah.
So looking at the concept of creativity, but also like playing and playroom style.
Yeah.
And so we have done projection mapping and circuitry. So some of that stuff that you've been talking about, but I'm just trying to jot down some of the softwares you were talking about. If you were to introduce this teacher who's really afraid of technology, what do you think would be the most user-friendly piece of software or hardware that you've encountered that would sort of invite that?
This is what this is where you the last bullet point is have smart friends. So instead of just engaging it yourself, like work with artists. I mean, we work with the 5th graders here at Montgomery County and Blacksburg. So those teachers don't know anything about this technology, but they can reach out to my students or artisans that do that and bring it into the classroom instead of having to learn it all on their own. I mean, that's one approach is just the collaborative experience. Bringing in an artist that does do that is kind of cool. But yeah, they could learn it really quickly, download Mad Mapper or Touch Designer.
Mad Mapper.
Okay. They may have to pay a little fee or wink, and maybe find a illegal copy. You can didect what it just said.
Projection mapping, we've been like, the young people have been building boxes with pictures and using things like Heavy M and kind of user friendly.
That's the fun part about it is like a lot of my students and undergrad, even grad students and PhD students, we'll go up to the 4th floor I know you guys have a maker space here, which is great, part of the library experience, but I think I was telling you about this, but is it the first time they've ever touched a drill? They don't know how to put a drill bit in, or the first time, like, they don't see them like put a screw, they don't even know how to screwdriver. It's either anything hands-on, like physical making or cutting paper or even getting a paper cut is amazing. It's like part of that journey of taking an idea or a thought or a drawing and manifesting it into a form. I mean, it's really fun. I mean, I think you guys were just doing it with paper, but you just go to a recycling bin, find some cardboard, and hot glue is awesome. And you could burn the fudge out of your finger, but I mean, just build it and then project on it. It's exciting. This transform a space like instantly. So YouTube is great. So just look up YouTube, like initial ideas on projection mapping. So yeah, it's really powerful, especially with 4th and 5th graders. And I mean, my daughter has been watching me go through all this, so it's part of her brain of how this happens. But I think it's really important to show young women this process too, because like with my daughter, she's one of 2 in the computer science program at her college. So I really want to make sure this is introduced to everyone in the classroom, these technologies, just not certain demographics. So
are you guys doing any work with this in classrooms or youth settings?
We haven't yet. We will once it starts to work a little bit. But yeah, we definitely work with the Montgomery school system. I always bring in when we go to elementary school and we have the students from a modeling class and the 3rd graders, and they draw a theme. And the 3rd graders with the crowns, you know, making a lizard. And then our students take those drawings and we model them, and they come back, we 3D print them, and it's just like this exchange, like, holy, that's what I want to do when I'm a kid. Or so, yeah. So the ones that we have done it, they're already in undergrad school. So, but they remember that project. So anything, any loose bits that you can do, but you know, reach into your arsenal. I mean, just be creative. Like, there's no reason why you should teach a class in the classroom. Like, engage the community and think bigger in the classroom. Like, classes are not tutorials. They should be collaborative talk too. Part of my teaching, we also call the history lab, and I teach it with 3 other colleagues. One's humanities, and we got a historian, education, and then my colleague Todd Ogle works in the library, and then myself, the goofball, the misfit. And we teach a class on history lab. And so all the technologies that you saw, from laser to VR to AR, we teach that all in the first half, like a boot camp. And then they have to go out into the field and do the research, go to the library, to the library collection, go out into the community to do interviews, Zoom mics, and then they create a VR or AR experiment. So we got the best of the teachers, and then you got a community engagement, and then an artifact that they have to make something. And you can't replicate that on an online course. So the engagement with those students are in these groups. They're all from different disciplines, computer science, engineer. Maybe there's an artist in there. There's a thespian in there. Maybe there's, someone from humanities or whatever. So I think that's really powerful. That's when I get really excited. And classes like that are a big no-no on our campus because they don't hit the PIP model. They don't bring in revenue to your department. So they're frowned upon. So we always have to teach it as a bonus course. But those are the most important classes, like the hands-on, and then community-based, and also the collaboration with other disciplines, because your students leave your classroom, that is what the environment they're going to go into, is a kind of this collaborative space if it's going to be a successful company, especially like gaming or whatever. So
I don't really have a question because this is all really beyond me, but I'm learning. But I do have a kind of a comment to make,
sure.
Or just even a thinking point or something. Yeah. So I'm a poet, and I want
we
to
need your voice.
I want to make a digital piece, so that I'm kind of coming to sort of see the state of the art. But I'm also a philosopher, and I wrote a book on it's a Heidegger book, and it's about technology, and it's about poetry and technology, and how technology is a threat or a danger to us. This is Heidegger's view, but also how that perhaps we can confront technology within digital art. That's kind of what I look at in my book. So I was talking about digital art with having zero understanding of what that actually meant. So I came from it from this really philosophical point, but and it's like really interesting, and I'm learning more and more about it as time goes on. Like I didn't plan to go this way, but now I'm kind of moving in this direction. There's just this, so just thinking about philosophy a little bit, like you said in your presentation, puppeteering forms.
Yeah.
And that refers directly back to Plato's cave. You know, so and in a way,
putting
idea that rather than like if we see art as some sort of move towards truth, which it's complicated, but anyhow, if we think of it like in a way, you're moving away, and almost when you said puppeteering forms, it's almost a move back into the cave. Not that we've ever escaped it. So that just really struck me. Now, but I loved seeing what you were doing. It was really interesting.
I mean, that's the thing about the VR experiences is like, you know, just seeing them like as a game, as they're procedurally being generated. But once you put the human actor in it, the person puppeteering, it gives a whole other life to add
but it's deception.
The sound and the voice.
Yeah.
It is a deception. It's all magic, right?
Yeah.
It's sleight of hand, you don't know, but engaging the human, you know, poetry, the arts, singing, I mean, all this stuff, but if you're having it real time and intermixed with the technology, that's really something interesting. I mean, we can still stick with just old school puppetry and having these forms and so forth, but having technologies is very exciting, and intersecting those is quite unique. So, yeah.
I actually had a kind of a related question to that. It's like one of the most striking things in your work was just like puppeteers or people like moving around machines and robots, or just like moving around let's say 3D printed objects to assist like VR experience. And it kind of, to me, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but kind of like a metaphor of this like myth of automation. And if you dig deep down, you find like a lot of invisible human labor like that is obscured. Kind of, I was thinking if you ever kind of connecting those points together, was it like ever metaphor to kind of communicate that one as well, right? Because nothing is 100% automated. There's always like a lot of human labor, and most of the time, it's good to see that people are getting like paid for it very well, but most of the time they're not.
Yes, I'm very aware of that. No, it's good to show all the different layers of what you're talking about as part of the process. I mean, you kind of parent it from the experience, but if you sit down and think about it, it's true. There's multiple layers of this. So,
I think that is so key, actually, because I think quite often we see the end results of these things in people and teachers and youth workers in my context area and education point of view. Do you think like that was so refreshing because you actually talked about soldering and the circuits and adding the connectors, and it's like we often don't ever, people see the end results and then they become consumers of technology, obviously, and like you're really breaking down the creative process and labor, and that's exciting, and that's where like here's a pencil, you can draw with a pencil. Do you know what I mean?
That's where it all starts, right?
Rather than just looking at the end result.
No, it's really important. I mean, and going back to like the engagement with the community, you saw that I forced I teach animatronics, so I forced them to come, and then 2 other classes came and we presented in the cube. So I showed everyone that was part of it. You know, people that ran the cube, I had them stand up with me to talk about what the cube was, what their roles were in it. All these hidden people, even to the industrial design student, you know, they get a little bit of pride to talk about it, but then it starts to demystify like how complex this is, and showing that. But showing that in an educational sense is really important, and hopefully we'll get to do it to elementary and high school students. I'm terrified of high school students.
Maybe this is why it's so important to that the universities or public spaces lead this type of investigations. Because if you go to the private, everything looks so mysterious because they don't want to share their findings, the technology, or even between or among artists. How do they do that? No, because.
And that's what's so important about rooms like this, you know, that kind of help foster that. So. And we do a bad job of
all this mystery is gone. And this practice, knowing the technology, etc. So it becomes earthy and comprehensible for a lot of people, right? While technology still keeps this mystery and all that, probably will hide all these disadvantage for workers, etc. There is this AI artist Rafik Anadol. So it was amazing because I went to the Guggenheim to see his installation, and I just found in a corner, very small, the name of the team. You know, so Rafik Anadol, I went, man, you don't do that alone. You know, you're very smart, and you know, good idea. And then I took a photo of the title, but in the corner, hidden. And I said, that's not very nice.
I hope I don't ever say I. It's just,
You say we,
I try to say we in our project. So no way, none of this would have taken place without a team. So, and a lot of the people are non-paid, like my colleagues that are my age, just spent hundreds of hours on this stuff. So it's we in our project. So I mean, it's really, really difficult to create that too. Like you're building up this beautiful energy and you want people to come to you. And so, but you know, it happens. It happens. So one of the things you were asking, or someone was asking, is like how to get people to do a collaborative experience. And ICAT every Friday, you know, donuts are very popular and powerful attractors too. So every Friday at 9 a.m., they have something called Play Date. And so it's probably like a space like this, probably outside of this door. You got this whole beautiful lobby, and they have a team that has won a grant through ICAT, and they present their findings. And so other people that are interested in that transdisciplinary or collaborative experience, they come. So what these little donuts do is make people come up, and also coffee is helpful too, but you start to say, hey, what do you do? Like, I can see the two of you collaborating, you're doing EEG, like, what does that look like as I'm reading poetry? Like, well, we can do a publication. Well, we got $5,000 grant, we can make something, and then we can publish in IEEE or something like that. I mean, it's just like really simple, like donuts. That's all it takes is like get these people that are really interested, like, oh, I'm in education. Well, can you come talk to my students about your research on your PhD? And so, I don't know, it sounds stupid and simple, but it just takes something like that, a fostering of the community and someone to be that person to bring it happen every so often and bring lecturers like me and people to do that. So yeah, baby steps, but it takes decades to break down the system. So.
I have two questions from online.
Oh, wow.
People.
Yes.
First,
they're still there.
Yeah, they're still hanging.
Adam.
First one, you mentioned that the forms for this concept came from meditation. Can you speak more about this? And the second one is, what's the most frustrating part of your process? Caveat, I don't consider frustration a negative.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'll do the first one. So meditation is a really important part of my practice, and it kind of came about in late undergrad. I went with a girlfriend at the time, and we went to a meditation circle, and I'm like rolling my eyes all the way through, but you know, love will make you do weird things, right? So went, and it was amazing. It just kind of went through all the different chakras, and then just led us into this journey, and just kind of let us loose. And then I was like, this stuff coming at me like a mile a minute. I was like, wow, this is really cool, and not verbalizing it. So everyone, we stopped the session. Everyone talked about what they saw, and so And so, yeah, I was back in the Renaissance. And I'm like, oh, that's, and then this person talking about, mystic feelings. And I'm like, well, I saw this. And you're like, okay. But it was really, really great because, when you're a fine artist, you spend a lot of time in a studio like this, a lot smaller than this. And you sketch and you kind of look and iterate and sketch. And it's this long, laborious process to figure out your own visual vocabulary, because you're going to make something that looks like some other artist. And so it takes a long time to do that. And so this was like a easy way to just go meditate. And then like during meditation, like edit, like, nope, 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 nope. That's cool. And then I just wake up and sketch it out. And so I do like 1 or 2 meditations every other year. And then it's only for about an hour. And then that is what I work on for the next 2 years physically. So it's a fast process. I think tonight or tomorrow night, I will start it here, just picking up on the energies here. I even asked about ley lines here. And I guess where in Bern, there's a couple of specific ley lines and energies and so forth. So a little bit of my practice, but this is pure accident. So, but yeah, I'm open to it. Anything as a shortcut is great. Makes it go quicker. And then the other question was frustration. Yeah, I mean, this project has been an uphill battle. Just trying to get funding is probably one of the most biggest challenges for a project like this. So ICAT's been a big contributor of that and helping pay and sponsor for crazy ideas like this. I mean, I've emailed so many people like, look, we're in desperate, I need to pay my singers. And so just getting 1,000 or 500 from like CHCI is really important. So that is one of the most challenging parts. A lot of this stuff just comes out of your own pocket, paying for supplies and so forth. But you just run into a wall. Like, how are you going to solve this really, really challenging thing? I want everything to work out of Unreal, non-tethered. How do I power it? And then that's the most daunting part, but it's also most exciting when you see it all to come together and you see a performance and you see the singers, and then there's a moment where you just melt like, wow, we did it. So it was worth it at the end. So yeah, but halfway through you're like, F this, I just want to go home.
There's another more technical question.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you want to pull it up there.
Okay. We'll try it.
You can go into Zoom. Go to Zoom. Yeah.
All right. You transform your creative ideas into engineering design, is that it?
Yeah, and comparing Maya and Unreal.
Oh, do you find Maya versatile, practical, and okay, those are really technical. All right, so Maya's is more of like modeling and animation. So we usually that's more linear. They're polygonal. We can model polygons. We can texture them, and usually it's used in VFX, like for post-production or film work and so forth. A lot of these models can be used for gaming engines and so forth, like Unity and Unreal. But the cool thing is now Blender's taken over, so you can do all that in Blender. So Maya doesn't have it does have a good transition between Unreal or Max, but Blender is starting to create these bridges where Blender and Unreal have maybe a tighter connection. With the Unreal and Max, trying to thread this together, what's more versatile? I would say Unreal is really more versatile because you can take your polygon objects that you can create in any fashion and you can rig it in Unreal. You can also animate in Unreal. You can use motion capture in Unreal to make your characters move. You can do all your coding and it's in real time. So you can create these really powerful projects. Max is really beautiful, but it's only limited to bring in like inputs from the EEG you can bring in those input, even biosensors into Mac. So it is a great pathway to bring in data and also do procedural things like sound and so forth. It does have some 3D outputs for it, but not as powerful as Unreal Game Engine. So I hope that answers your question. And then do I need to answer the last one? Engineering design?
I'm not going to make it.
Yeah. I make a creative eyes in engineering design. I'm a horrible engineer. As you can see, these things fall apart quickly. So I'm hoping to make those collaborations down in the future. I mean, if you gave a task to an engineer, they'd probably give you 80-20 aluminum and extrusions and have a certain aesthetic, but that is a challenge because typically you have an idea and you can model it really quickly in Maya or Blender and put it into Unreal and everything works, right? Polygons don't care about tensile strength and the rigidity of things. But once you start to print out these things, and then you go to put a servo in and you realize you didn't put enough room to put the screw, or you booby trap yourself into a corner, which happens all the time with me. You have to think in a totally different way. And the big thing is just do it. Just get it done, make it, and get it to work as quickly as possible, as cheaply as possible. Then you step back and then iterate and iterate and iterate. So I don't think it's the most economical way of doing engineering, but for me and also other startups, that's the way they do it. Just get it done, get it working, and then iterate and then look at the cost factor and making it cheaper and cheaper. But that's what I've been doing. And so I try to go as quickly as possible. I try to get these things running up in like 30 days. You know, 3D printers are amazing. CNC machines, they use CNC laser cutters, chainsaws, whatever it takes to get these. But yeah, the engineering side, hopefully I'll get someone on the team. We do have industrial designers help us out with starting to think of closures and stuff like that. But definitely need the engineering side of things, not just physical, but also electrical engineers and stuff like that. So yeah, we're all just kind of hobbyists. Like I said, the person that made our boards, Matthew Swartz, background in architecture. So he's able to do amazing things. Any other questions?
I think we'll let you go.
All right, Paul, thank you.